everyone, and welcome to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are on a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. And it is the League Cup final preview for you guys. As you can see, I am joined by Josh and, of course, Jamie Phillips as well. We will get these lads' thoughts and opinions on the final. It was meant to be 2 Liverpool fans, 2 Chelsea fans, but unfortunately we couldn't make the second Chelsea fan available. Running scared, I think. Running absolutely scared. I'm joking, of course. Josh is going to hate me after the stream. Anyway, but hopefully all of you are on a fantastic day. Please head over to the lads' socials. Anyway, they will be in the video description down below and all that good stuff. Anyway, but let me know, guys, your thoughts. How are you feeling going into the weekend? Anyway, Josh, it's been a very long time since I've spoken to you, my friend. How are you feeling going into the weekend?
It has been an incredibly long time. So it was it's probably the first YouTube thing I've done with anyone in a long time. I actually forgot maybe how to turn on my computer there the other day. I'm only joking. No, but in terms of how I'm feeling, I think typically the last, especially maybe the last 2 seasons, the games between Chelsea and Liverpool have been end-to-end stuff where I don't think really one team has particularly dominated the game, and it's both sides have kind of shown off where their strengths are, and have kind of neutralized each other. 2 very strong defenses and 2 exceptionally really good midfields on the day. Where Liverpool probably definitely edged in attack. So it's a game where I think obviously when you look at the run of form of both teams, when you look at maybe how the personnel of attacks on both teams are doing, and maybe just the overall energy levels of where both teams are at, under their managers, Liverpool definitely are ahead. But Chelsea, especially in a cup game where Chelsea just seem a different team in a cup competition, do seem to have a whole different kind of set of gear and energy and aside to him, where we just seem to be able to grind out results a bit more. We're able to cause the upset a wee bit more. So it really is just a matter of what Chelsea team is, plays. And Tuchel has been playing so many different systems and so many different personnel over these last few weeks too. You don't know who's going to start. You don't know if it's going to be a back 4 or back 5. Chelsea going to press, or they're going to sit back. So it really is a matter of what Chelsea team turns up. We could get the Chelsea that played on Tuesday night against Lille that were exceptionally good, or we could get the Chelsea team that we've seen maybe over the course of December and January that was pretty much no better than Burnley. So, and that's kind of sums up Chelsea season. Obviously, I think it will make a big impact on depending on who the striker is, because I do think Chelsea are a much worse side with Romelu Lukaku.
Well, we will speak about, of course, the big signing in a little bit as well. But Jamie, how are you feeling, mate, going into it? Of course, a couple of days off after beating Leeds 6-0. I don't think any of us thought before the game we would have won the game 6-0, but it was nice, wasn't it, going ahead into a League Cup final, full of confidence, 3 points off City, and just things flying at the minute for Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't go into a final any more confident after a 6-0 victory. It's definitely for sure. And the momentum we're in at the moment, we're in great momentum. The squad's looking good. Or, no, for me, no, and Jota for the weekend probably. But, the squad's looking good. Momentum's good. I think we've won 9 on the trot now, something like that. So everything's going our way. I am pumped for this final. It's been long overdue that we're in a domestic cup final, has to be said. And look, we're favourites, and we should be favourites for this game. I mean, and say the league don't lie, we're above Chelsea in the league, and we are the better club probably at this moment in time. But if there's one club you don't want to play in a final, it's Chelsea. I'll have to say, Chelsea and Man City, they're the 2 clubs I would not choose to play in a domestic cup final. Anyone else, and I'll be like, the cup's already won, let's just turn up and win it. But Chelsea and Chelsea, no, it's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be really tight. I don't expect this game to be an open game in any kind of way. It's going to be one of them tight finals. It's going to be one in the midfield for me, this game. This game's going to be one in the midfield for me. Whoever controls the midfield the best over 90 minutes will win this match. And for Liverpool, going into this game, I think Klopp knows the team he wants. I think Klopp's got an easier time with it, picking his 11, I think, than Tuchel has on the weekend. I think there's only 2 spots that are maybe up for grabs in the whole 11. That's probably who plays with Thiago and Fabinho and who plays with Van Dijk. And I think that's it.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely agree with you on that as well. But guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Dave says confident but not overconfident. Yeah, I have that same feeling. I'm not gonna lie. All right, fellas. Hello, Tom. Hopefully on a fantastic day, my friend. I bet if you can take points off City this weekend, I'd absolutely love it.
Yes, that'd be good.
If you could do us a favour, but I highly doubt that. John's in. Hello, John. Hopefully, on a fantastic day, mate. He says, big up, guys. Hope you are well. And Dave has said, Fab, Hendo, and Thiago midfield wins it as well. But of course, we are speaking about Chelsea, Liverpool. We are speaking about Tuchel versus Klopp, especially since Tuchel has been at Liverpool. Liverpool haven't been able to get a win yet. While Thomas Tuchel has been Chelsea manager. Take a quick look at it anyway. These are the last 5 games in all competitions that both teams have come up against each other. Of course, the most recent one, 2-2, which I think Liverpool did throw away in that game personally. Similar in the 1-1 as well, of course, Reece James's red card. And then, of course, Chelsea beating us at Anfield last season. And, of course, us beating them at Stamford Bridge as well last season when we actually had a fit and available squad anyway. But, Josh, I know that you said and Jamie as well. I know we talked about if this was a league game, a draw you wouldn't mind. Of course, it has to be a winner at the end of the day. But Chelsea and the Tuchel in cup competitions, we've seen how well Chelsea did in the Champions League and in other competitions as well. Josh, how would you explain how Thomas Tuchel has done so well in the cup competitions under Chelsea so far?
I think a big key to cup games, especially when they're over 2 legs. Obviously not the case in the League Cup final, but one thing that Chelsea have been very good at is defense. Chelsea's defense, has always been a rock stone thing since Tuchel's came. Since day one Tuchel came in, I think it was Wolves was his first game at Stamford Bridge in the league. We've been defensively solid since then. Yes, I think like every team in the league, or every team maybe in the world as such, will have a bad game now and again defensive, but the back three of Thiago Silva, Rudiger, Azpilicueta, or Christensen, or even Malanga. So he's even made Malanga Sarr, who was a free transfer who he wanted to get rid of. The summer looked like a half decent footballer. So I think Tuchel's defensive and midfield structure has been very key to being able to win these cup games, because all you need is your attack to play well, or you need to get 1 or 2 lucky chances, to fall to you and score them. And if your defense sees it out, you're going to win. You're going to win cup games that way, and I think cup games definitely is. If you have a good defense, you have a chance of going incredibly far, and I think that's why Manchester United haven't gotten very far in cups recently, because their defense isn't actually that good. You can have Ronaldo up front, and it doesn't really make much of a difference. So, I think that's where a big reason has came in, because last season was no different. In the league, our attack was absolutely awful, but our defense got us to the Champions League final because we weren't conceding against Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Manchester City. And I do think that's just where the slight difference, and there just seems to be an extra motivation and an extra drive within this team, knowing that these cups are up for grabs and we're getting into these good stages. So I think it's a mixture of good things, but the defense is a massive key for it, especially in the Champions League. And we haven't played anyone in the Carabao Cup, to my knowledge, that was much of a test. But to still beat Spurs as comfortably as we did over 2 legs, it's still gratitude to the setup from Tuchel. And again, defensively, Spurs didn't cause us a single problem.
Yeah, no, well, I remember watching that, and Spurs just looked absolutely hopeless. And Jamie, for a Liverpool side of things, looking at it, looking at that Chelsea defense, and Josh, you can correct me on this as well. For me, I think Chelsea's main weakness is Marcos Alonso and that left hand side. Where you mentioned Marcos Alonso, and he goes straight down. But for me, that is the key for Liverpool. Marcus Alonso against Mo Salah. We kind of saw it at Stamford Bridge, where we saw that right hand side of Trent. You'd guess that it might be Thiago or Hendo on the right hand side at times, and Mo. Especially the second goal, I believe, when Liverpool scored at the Bridge, and how effective it was on that side. Now it was similar, I think, the game against at Anfield as well, where we were getting loads of space on the left hand side with Mo, Harvey Elliott as well playing in that game. Do you think that Liverpool will use that on the weekend to be the main focal point to try and beat Chelsea, or do you think that there's another way of beating Tuchel's defensive side?
Yeah, like as you say, Tuchel, well, since he's been in Chelsea, he's made them a more defensive unit. I mean, they have only conceded 2 less than us all season. We completely defend completely different to how Chelsea obviously defend. But as you say, with Alonso, Salah, that's going to be obviously our main target. Will be Alonso, using Salah just going to pin himself on Alonso for the whole match. But doing that as well, you'll go drag people out of position as well, because Alonso will need help. So that's when you go drag a centre back or a midfielder into that position, leaving up space for the likes of Thiago to control space in the midfield as well. So there's a lot of good matchups there. But I also think Chelsea are going to attack the same side on Trent's side. I think they'll see Trent as the weaker at the 2 full-backs defensively. And they will try and keep him pinned back for as much of this match as humanly possible, because they know his strengths going forward. So, yeah, I see Liverpool attacking Alonso, and obviously Alonso will need help with Salah, and then that gaps in that midfield, well, then Thiago will use that gap in that midfield, and it's loads of matchups all over the place. That's why I keep saying I think whoever wins the midfield battle wins this game. It's so important, and with the likes of Chelsea, I think they're missing Kovacic for this final. If that's the case, I mean that's huge. That's huge, because Jorginho's not been used much and he's been dropped lately. And if Jorginho plays, Jorginho's not very good under pressure, is he, on the ball? That's where they've been found out.
We've seen that on Man United's quick counter attack the other week.
He can't handle the press, and if he plays, that's a bonus for Liverpool. Kovacic, if he misses this game, that's a huge blow for Chelsea, because I think he's a fabulous midfielder. And obviously, the last time we played Chelsea, he scored a screamer, man of the match, completely run the game. So, yeah, that's my opinions on where this game could be.
Yeah,
won and lost for Liverpool.
Definitely. I absolutely agree with you on that, my friend. Mitchelton, hello Mitch, hopefully having a fantastic day, mate. Says, Havertz, Werner and Pulisic scare me so quick. Yeah, they are pace demons indeed. Mitchell saying hi to Dave. Jackson as well saying, yes boys, hello Jack, hopefully having a fantastic day, my friend. And then Mitchell saying Maka as well. But Josh, if Kovacic was to be out of this game, as Jamie said, you look at it, it would probably most likely be N'Golo Kante and Jorginho in that midfield. Now, whenever I've watched Chelsea have them two, and for me, I can't decide, or from watching it, who the more attacking out of them two are, because I feel like if you're playing in a 2, they can play both defensively brilliantly, but I think with especially playing in that 3-4-3, you'd expect one of them to push up a bit more. And for me, I think N'Golo Kante, he can't do that in my opinion. He's phenomenal, and I love N'Golo Kante, and I think that he is better than Jorginho in my opinion. But would you agree with that as well, or do you think that it's defensively balanced with them two playing in that 2 midfield?
I do feel, well, first of all, Kovacic is available for this game. He is declared fit. His injury on Tuesday night was nothing serious, so Kovacic is available for full selection if needs be. But in the odd case that he wasn't, or say he was only fit enough for the bench, which is a possibility, I do agree. I don't think Kante and Jorginho particularly work very well together. I think they aren't a midfield duo that can link the midfield to the attack. So you're pretty much getting Jorginho and Kante or two. Well, a Jorginho can control a game, like Kante can do the defensive work, but then you're massively relying on your fullbacks, which is Azpilicueta and Alonso, who are slow and not particularly great going forward. So it really has limited Chelsea's attack. And when I did Jack's preview last night, I actually had Saul starting over Jorginho with Kante for that particular reason. That I actually think Saul, who was absolutely dreadful worse than Bakayoko level when he first started playing for us, started getting a bit of form and seems like maybe he's starting to adapt to the English level. And I think Saul would offer us a bit more, not much, but a bit more of an attacking threat and better link-up play with the front players compared to Jorginho. And I think that's Jamie's point. That's why I don't think Jorginho is being used at all, because he's just offering nothing, helping a struggling attack that's been struggling for the whole season now. So I think Kovacic is a massive difference, but like the difference between the interchanging and getting the passes from deep and him linking up with the midfield and causing extra issues with coming from the middle and while the fullback get high. It's a night and day difference. And Kante and Jorginho, if you need to defend the lead, like if we're 2-0 up or something or 2-1 up, I wouldn't be surprised if we were on the pitch. Coming to try and see a game out, but definitely from the start of a game, especially even the lack of pace, Jorginho has, I think Thiago would probably have field days running around him, or if Salah was able to get at him or something. So I do think Jorginho and Kante is a terrible duo together. Just too much of a Jorginho is too slow. Which means Kante's kind of have to run around pretty much everywhere, and he sometimes is out of position because of it. And that's why I would actually have Saul start over him. And I don't like Saul a lot, but he has started to pick up a bit of form, to be fair to him. But even if Kovacic is 80% fit, start him from the start, because he makes such a big difference to this team. And if he does start, it definitely will give me a lot more confidence than if he doesn't start.
Yeah, well, if you've got Sal in front of Jorginho, then I do feel sorry for that midfield, because Sal Niguez has been absolutely awful for Chelsea this season. And I remember when pretty much every single Liverpool fan on Twitter was saying that man was going to be the hope for Liverpool's midfield when he was linked, and so on. As me and Jamie will definitely be looking on Twitter and seeing that anyway. But moving slightly away then from that, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But getting away from it, and of course, Jamie, Liverpool's last League Cup victory was, as I've got double I for win. Apologies for that. I've just recognised that when I come up. But Liverpool's last win, 2011 against Cardiff. I actually have the Wikipedia page for it, and I was looking at it, and I was like, there's some teams in it that Liverpool, beat that. Even now, looking at it, it's like wow. Anyway, but if I quickly get it up on screen for you guys, anyway. If we look at it by here, Exeter City was the first team that Liverpool beat, 3-1 away, then Brighton away, Stoke away, Chelsea away. I think Glenn Johnson and Maxi Rodriguez scored in that game as well, I believe. Manchester City over 2 legs as well, and then of course beating Cardiff on penalties as well. But some decent teams there, some not so decent teams anyway. But Jamie, what do you remember from the 2011 win, and how much it gave a boost to Liverpool following that? Because I know Dirk Kuyt did speak about in a little article piece that he did for LFC.com, and he was like saying that a win, a trophy halfway through the season gives the players a tremendous boost. And of course, we're going after the Premier League, the Champions League, and even the FA Cup. So how much of a boost do you think, if Liverpool was to win on Sunday, it'd give them for the rest of the season?
Oh, I mean, this would be massive. And I remember back in 2011 as well. I think that was the cup we got to both finals, didn't we, that year under Kenny?
Yeah.
We lost the FA Cup final, won the League Cup final. But back then we were chasing fourth. It's come so much, and now you look at it, and our momentum at this moment in time, I do think if we win a trophy, in the middle of the season with 12 league games to go, the momentum we've got right at this moment in time, it's going to be extremely hard to stop us. We're a momentum team. We're a team that plays on rhythm, and I think now that Klopp's got this squad together, now that he can completely trust, he knows who's fit and available. And I think he's only going to use 14 or 15 players now till the end of the season. He ain't going to change too much. They're fit and ready to go. They got to play all the time. And that momentum a cup win will give you, especially in in February, when you know you're 3 points behind City, you've got to play City, everything's still in your hands almost. The momentum will be huge. It'll be absolutely massive, and it will take. I mean, it takes something to stop us now. If we can get a trophy on top of that, yeah, it's Man City will be really looking behind them. They can feel our breath now. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, they can, and the funniest thing is that I've seen something like, Liverpool could practically be, at that game at the Etihad being level points, depending on, of course, results elsewhere over the next couple of weeks, and well, that could be the game where the title is, won and lost there and there. Yeah, it's a huge game, and Josh, being a Chelsea fan and being that, you was part of the title race, some might say Chelsea are slimmerly in it, but I think, they are fully out of it now. But when you look at both Manchester City and Liverpool, what are your thoughts on the title race, and where do you think it will go? Because I know for me and Jamie, of course, we obviously hope it's for Liverpool, and we fully expect, as we've spoken on the channel many times, that this team can get better as well. I think there's still plenty of time for, I don't think Liverpool have reached, full gear so far this year. Maybe against Man City in the second half of the game at Anfield. But what are your thoughts for the title race going ahead for the rest of the season?
Well, I think Manchester City are doing what I think Manchester City, I kind of thought maybe they would do. And, as the Champions League started to creep up, I think their mentality has started to shift onto, thinking about the Champions League a bit too much. Because obviously there's this whole thing with Manchester City is, for how good they have been, in the Premier League, they've always stepped up in the Champions League. And Pep Guardiola, we can all agree that he made one of the biggest, dumbest moves in the Champions League final by not playing at DM. He completely dropped his two best players and Rodri and Fernandinho, and completely lost the game for his team. And I think Manchester City are determined even more to go on and try and win the Champions League, and I feel like that will play into Liverpool's hands because, you look at that Spurs game. Spurs. I know people give credit for how good Spurs were, but Manchester City played right into Spurs' hands. They basically completely decided not to defend. They didn't hold it back four. They didn't even hold it back two. They kind of just pushed everybody out. And, it wasn't really hard for Son or Harry Kane to hit a long ball free, and that was it. The Spurs were free. So Manchester City have this vulnerability defensively, and I think on top of what's definitely focusing more on the Champions League, which is something that Pep Guardiola has been doing for quite a while now, has shown that this is the time of year where Manchester City do slip up in the league, and I think Liverpool by far, even just looking at games, I feel like they just have the slight edge in terms of, I feel like Liverpool are going to win a game, when Manchester City, you'll always look and go, when does Liverpool rarely slip up against a lower opposition? When Manchester City have done quite a few times over the last few years, even when they've ran away with the league. So, and as you said, Manchester City, you still have to play Manchester City in the league. So I think Liverpool have all capabilities of winning the league once again. I think Manchester City are going to drop points this season, and I don't know where Liverpool will drop points. Yes, Leeds defensively are in absolute shambles, but to still beat a team 6-0, in the league, regardless of what opposition they are, is mightily impressive. So yes, it's up in the air. Chelsea are out of it. I'm not going to sit here and even try and give myself any hope. Chelsea are out of it. We're long gone. We're fighting for third place, which is very much in our hands as well. And I echo what Jamie said. I think the Carabao Cup is one of these competitions. It's an absolute inconvenience to play, but if you get to the final and win it, it is a massive boost mentally, for the rest of the season. And it's one of those, if you lose, you don't really care about it because it's not a major, it's not one of those major trophies. So, if Liverpool do win this cup final, I do think they will go on to win the league. Even if you lose it, you still have a big chance. But I think Manchester City have one side of their head in the Champions League. And I feel like we're going to see them slip up again in the league over these next few weeks. While Liverpool, I think you guys have got the best squad depth you've probably had in a very long time. Your bench is insane. You've been bringing players off the bench. You've been making big differences. I think Firmino still will come back too, So everything for me is just pushing in Liverpool's favour slightly to go on and win it. But obviously that game against Man City, which I believe is at the Etihad, isn't it, will obviously be a big decider on where it goes, because I do think City will drop points to other teams in the league this season.
Yeah, no, definitely. And look, my big shout the whole season has been Man City and not winning the Champions League. I think there's too many good teams in there for them to not even win the Champions League. I think there's, you have to have the mentality, I think, to win the Champions League. That we've seen teams like PSG fail plenty of times and so on. I think City don't have that. I don't think they can beat. I still think Madrid might still get past PSG themselves. I still think there's even Chelsea as well. As we're speaking about cup competitions, I think the Champions League is going to be interesting anyway going forward. But of course, we are here for the League Cup final. Mitchell says the bitterness of missing out on AFCON will still be right at the front of Salah's mind. I back him to have an amazing game and get his hands on the cup. I'd love that, Mitchell. I'd absolutely love it on that as well. But one big talking point I want to speak to both the lads is that Kelleher and Kepa are set to start for both teams. Both backup goalkeepers look set to be starting for each other's clubs. Anyway, I'll start off with Jamie. Anyway, of course, in cup finals previously, Jamie, we've had the fortunates of having the likes of Alisson Becker, and we all know the history of Liverpool goalkeepers. Of course, we don't like to mention Kiev and Loris Karius and so on, but for me, I feel 100% confident in Kelleher, even though he's coming in a bit cold, having of course not played the last couple of weeks. I just still feel 100% confident in him, and the levels that he has shown when he has come in, especially the game early on against Chelsea in the season, came in cold and did a brilliant job. What's your feelings about Jurgen and Pep Linders mentioning that he will definitely start on Sunday? What are your thoughts and opinions on that?
I think it's the right thing. I know a lot of Liverpool fans are a bit mixed on this at the moment, because the form Alisson is in at the moment is fantastic, and as you say, we've been burnt in a final by a goalkeeper before, so they are everyone's a bit mixed on it. But Kelleher's played every game, but that one time Alisson came in for some reason, I still don't know why. Was it the first leg?
I don't think any of us know. Like yeah, it was the first leg
and then I don't know why that was a weird one. But yeah, he's played every game, Kelleher, and I've got complete faith in him. He's not one of these number twos that I worry about, the number two goalkeeper coming in. I think, he's a bit shaky and all that. Look, he trains every day with Alisson, for goodness sake, and Taffarel, and is his coach, and Jonathanberg, and he's got the best team around him, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, training with him. And he has got this. I don't know if you noticed it, Connor, lately, but when he does play, he has got a little bit of cockiness about him now, hasn't he? He has got that bit of, I'm decent. I'm good at my job. I'm all right. The only thing for me, Alisson's one-on-one goalkeeping for me is up there, one of the best in the world. He's one-on-one goalkeeping. He's fantastic. And he's lightning off his line. I think Kelleher's just a little slower coming off his line sometimes. And I think that might be the only difference, but I'm totally comfortable. But I will say, Alisson and Mendy, for me, are the two best goalkeepers in the league. I've said it for a while now. I know Mendy might be a Chelsea player and all that, but I've got to give him his due. He's a quality goalkeeper. Them two are the best in the league for me. So if they're both missing out, it's not really go a disadvantage or advantage either side, to be fair.
Yeah,
if
no,
they're both their number twos.
I absolutely agree with you on that. I remember getting slaughtered on Twitter for me saying that I think Kelleher has better distribution than Ali, just slightly. I remember Twitter going absolutely mental.
Ali's a bit nervy with his distribution, ain't he? But I
Well,
think
we
Ali
seen that
knows what
against
he's
Jan
doing.
James.
Yeah, in a weird way, though, I think Ali knows what he's doing. Half the time, I think he knows he's in control of it, but then sometimes he just has a brain fart, don't he? Just like,
I think he likes to tease us. I think he sees someone coming and it's like, I'll wind people up a little bit and then just like do what I do.
Plays it out, yeah. But Kelleher, as you say, I think Kelleher played outfield though, didn't he, for a little bit in his
I
early
think
career.
he played striker, didn't he? And then,
Yeah, so he might be a bit better with his feet, but he's still a great goalkeeper to come in. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Josh, how are you feeling about Kepa? I was just on the podcast with Doug and Owen from the Cop On said that an interesting stat that Kepa has one of the worst long shot save percentage in Europe, which I didn't know that. Which of course, I'd love to see a Jordan Henderson or a Thiago, 40-yard screamer come Sunday anyway. But how are you feeling about Kepa being between the sticks instead of Mendy?
First of all, Tuchel said today that there is a high possibility that he might go ahead and start Mendy, which he did it. To be fair, he did it. The Club World Cup, even though you don't play as many games, right? When there are as many games as you do in the build up to a final in the League Cup, he did start Kepa, though he didn't have a choice in the semi final. Then Mendy, she just came back from AFCON and he was threw Mendy straight on in. So I do think it will be Kepa though, and Kepa since Frank Lampard left the club has been a far better goalkeeper. He's actually saved us numerous times, especially in penalty shootouts. He's made some fantastic saves in general, but long shots do seem to be a bit of a grey area with him. He does seem to react quite late and just isn't able to stretch out to deal with long shots, which is a bit of an issue because I do think Thiago or Jordan Henderson or even Fabinho has a good long shot in them, which would terrify the life out of me, or even the Salah side, just a shit from the halfway line. I think with Kepa, you do get that nerviness because you just know Kepa has a mistake in him and you just know where he does struggle. But Mendy, on the other hand, I do feel really confident with. I do think Kepa, who I used to call custard hands and probably just as bad as Rob Green, he's most definitely turned things around and he's definitely a better goalkeeper now. He's dramatically improved and he's definitely earned. He's certainly impressed enough to be a first choice goalkeeper for some other European club come next summer, if it's on a loan or if it's on a permanent, which I fully expect to happen. If Mendy does start this game though, and this goes to penalty shootout, Kepa will most definitely be subbed on. There's no question that Kepa is absolutely the penalty shoot goalkeeper. So we may see Kepa anyway if this goes to a penalty shootout and Mendy does start. He'll make one appearance one way or another in that case. But if Kepa does start, as long as we can stop Liverpool shooting from outside the box, I think he would do a job well enough. But even if he does start still, I actually would have confidence in him, and I think he deserves to start because he did really well with Mendy away at AFCON. He didn't actually do anything that would make me worried about him starting a cup final. I think he deserves it. I think he was harshly dropped for the Club World Cup final. I think he deserved to play in that game, and he absolutely deserves to play in this final. And I don't think he's done anything this year that should worry Chelsea fans, anything like he was last season when Frank Lampard was manager.
Yeah, no, well, it'd be interesting to see that anyway. Statman Stubbs, hello. Stay hopefully on a fantastic day, mate. Saying evening, guys. Up the Reds indeed. But getting on then to start 11 predictions. Get yours in the comment section down below. Anyway, I'll start off with Josh. We've spoken about Kepa or Mendy. Who have you gone for Chelsea starting 11?
Kepa's in goal. I'm going to go for a 3-4-3. I think that's our best formation, given the personnel available. So Kepa will start a game. I think he deserves to start the final. I am one of these believers that if you play your cup keeper from game one, he deserves to play the final. Especially if he's played the quarterfinal and the semi-final and whatever. So the back three would absolutely be an unchanged back three from what has been, it would be Tony Rudiger, Thiago Silva, who's been absolutely nuts for he's 37 and doesn't go to players in any shape, way, or form, and Christensen. On the left wing back, I would play Marcus Alonso simply because it's him or Malanga Sarr. And Alonso, for me, I would just prefer Alonso. I think Alonso would probably offer a slightly bit more than what Malanga Sarr can. And then in the middle would be Kante and Kovacic. Right wing back would be Azpilicueta, again, simply because there is no one else. And then the front three would be Christian Pulisic, as long as he's on the left wing. If he plays anywhere else, don't bother. If Pulisic starts on the left wing, up front, Kai Havertz all day long. Don't even put Lukaku on the bench. Just set him up in the stands, well away from the pitch. Kai Havertz up front, and then right wing or a right attacking midfielder, whatever way you want to look at it, would be Hakim Ziyech, who is also available.
Yeah, the one thing I will ask you about Lukaku is, why did you sign him? Because for me, he doesn't like for me, looking at the transfer itself, it was a very strange one, especially the comments that Tuchel was making about him. And, the club, you could clearly see in the summer wanted, someone like Erling Haaland. And I think you were trying quite heavily to get him in. And for me, you don't play to Lukaku's strengths, which if he's your marquee signing and your £100 million signing, you would think Tuchel would make arrangements to do that. Why do you think it hasn't worked for Lukaku? Because he's not looking anywhere near the Inter Milan Lukaku at the moment for use.
Well, Chelsea spent so long on trying to get Erling Haaland that Chelsea were running out of time to find a striker, and the only striker who was really relatively available in a short amount of time, who was probably gettable, was Romelu Lukaku. So Chelsea were too slow trying to do an impossible deal, which was always impossible no matter what Chelsea even attempted. Unless Abramovich really turned up to Germany and said, "All right, there's £100 billion for Haaland." So it was like the Lukaku deal. I think from the Chelsea's point of view, he was doing well in Inter Milan. He was a Chelsea man through and through, as he was saying at the time. He was a clinical striker, and he was available. And I think that was I don't think there was much thought in terms of would he fit into the system, or would Thomas Tuchel does Thomas Tuchel want them? I think it was more of a fact of we have to get him. And I when I look at this, to think that we actually let Tammy Abraham go to Roma and we let Giroud leave on a free was probably the worst decision we made, because it was always the case if Lukaku didn't do well and you're left with Kai Havertz, who I think Kai Havertz is growing and will be a fantastic player, but he's not someone who is at like a Salah or Sterling or Riyad Mahrez level, where he's just not there to be a consistent forward. So we should have kept one of the two. I think Tammy Abraham would have done a 10 times far better job than Romelu Lukaku, and he was a free transfer as such, for us, as he came for the academy. And why is he not doing well? I don't think he sits the Premier League, and he most definitely doesn't sit Antonio Conte. He doesn't sit Thomas Tuchel's system. Antonio Conte, Inter Milan, he played another striker up with him. The ball always went into Lukaku's feet, and Lukaku was able to hold on to the ball and pass it on to Lautaro Martinez or make runs in behind. We don't play like that. We like to use the full backs and use our wide players, get out wide, get the ball into the box, which just doesn't suit Lukaku, because Lukaku he just doesn't like running. He doesn't like moving. He doesn't like pressing. We just do everything the complete opposite to what Lukaku likes, and the Crystal Palace performance showed that. The team we're playing as Tuchel's teaching them to play, and Romelu Lukaku's playing his own way, and it's just two ends that just don't meet, and that's why we're so far better side with Timo Werner or Kai Havertz playing up front. And it's a big dilemma, because what can Chelsea do? You're not going to get $100 million back for Romelu Lukaku, and Chelsea can't really afford to go out and splash the cash on another new striker. So something's going to have to be figured out somewhere down the line. But as of right now, Lukaku does not deserve to start this final. He doesn't deserve to play any game or start any other game for Chelsea at the moment. And I don't know where a solution can be found, because Tuchel's stubborn. Rightly so. All the German managers are stubborn. He will not change his style of play for one man, no matter how much money or he's on or how much he costs. So I don't know. I would not be surprised if Lukaku wants to leave in the summer. But then again, is it realistic? I don't know. But that's when the financial side of football comes into play. But yeah, we're stuck with a man who probably doesn't even want to be here. He's not a Premier League sort of player, and he was an absolute waste of £100 million, which we probably could have saved for going for Haaland, and we could have just got Tammy Abraham and Drew for another year. But yeah, it's cost us. But that's the infuriating thing about football as a fan. You sit here when people make these decisions, and yeah, it was a terrible, terrible, terrible decision. I would have rather have got Andy Carroll at the straight.
Well, I was just about to mention Andy Carroll. To be fair, we've been in that situation. Jamie's looking, Jamie's there, but we've been in that situation ourselves. Andy Carroll. We all remember that for a good old £35 million. Anyway, Statman Stubbs going for Chelsea 1, Liverpool 2. We will get on to score predictions in a minute anyway. But Jamie, of course, speaking on Liverpool, I think, like you said earlier, I think there's two major spots for Liverpool. Of course, no Bobby Firmino. Thiago Jota might be available, but being realistic, it's going to be a bench appearance for him, or we might not even be seeing Jota on the weekend anyway, as a rush against time for him to be fit. But of course, we've got whoever plays along Virgil van Dijk, and of course that third spot in the midfield anyway. But Jamie, what would be your starting lineup for Sunday's game?
So, or is it Kelleher? As we know, he's going to play. They basically said it today. So, him definitely. Trent, right back. Robbo, left back. Virgil. And then I'd play Konate because I'm a bit worried about Pulisic. If he plays out on that left, plays up against Trent, that's what they're going to be looking for. Try and get the balls in behind Trent using Pulisic's pace. If that's the case, Konate can shift over very quickly. His pace is fantastic. That's one thing Matic just lacks, maybe. But yeah, I'd go with Konate just for that factor, trying to cancel that out of his pace. And then in midfield, Thiago and Fabinho obviously have that great relationship, and as a combination, I don't think they've lost together yet. So, they have to play. And then, as you say, there's the one spot left is the midfield option. Now, it's out of two players for me, and that's Henderson and Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott weren't even in the squad against Leeds, which tells me might be involved in this game on Sunday. But Hendo's your captain and leader, and he's Jurgen Klopp on the pitch, basically, ain't he? So, big game, big time game. I think Hendo would take that spot. But I wouldn't be surprised if he throws Harvey Elliott in there. He did it against Chelsea in his first full game, I think he gave against Chelsea, so earlier in the season. So, wouldn't be shocked, but it's out of them two, but I'm going to go Hendo. And in the front three, I think Mane will go through the middle, Salah on the right, and Diaz, who's going to be, could be the it factor in this game because Chelsea haven't come across him so far this season, and he could be the it factor. And his combination play with Robbo at the moment, they look like them two have played with each other for 2 seasons. Yeah. They're so in sync together, and that could be the it factor for us in Diaz on that left hand side.
No, yeah, definitely. I absolutely agree with the lineup. I think it's so hard between, for me, Matip and Konate, because, like you said, if Pulisic is playing on that left hand side, he is very, very dangerous, and he does love a goal against Liverpool. And if you look at just sheer pace between the two, Konate wins that battle every single time, and I think that will be a very, very big point in the game as well. But I for me, I wouldn't be surprised if Harvey Elliott did start, but it is again that question of do you leave Jordan Henderson, your leader, your captain, on the bench in a cup final? Realistically, no, I don't think you do. So yeah, I would absolutely agree with the starting 11 prediction. I can't wait to see what Diaz does against Chelsea as well. Just watching back, just highlights of the games that he's played, against Manchester City, for example, in the Champions League, for Porto, how, exciting he was in those games. And just already, the start that he's had for Liverpool, like Jurgen said, he hasn't had to teach him, pressing or anything like that, because, it looks like he's been learning how to play the Liverpool way for a very long time. So I think, it's a remarkable thing already, just a couple of weeks into his Liverpool career. Imagine, in a few weeks' time, or even on Sunday as well, hopefully he can bag that goal anyway. But guys, get your comments in, getting your thoughts anyway on who you think will start on Sunday. I'd start Hendo just for experience, but having Elliott on the bench, if we bring him on, will be massive, says Jack. Yeah, no, it would be indeed. Canate centre back with me, I think for me with Virgil as well. Yeah, no, I would agree. I absolutely agree with you on that. Mina's in as well. Hello, Mina. Hopefully having a fantastic day, mate. It says will be a win, Liverpool 3-1 as well. We'll get your score predictions in, guys. We'll be moving on to that before we do head off anyway. But we will ask the guests first, in being Chelsea. Of course, I'm guessing it's a Chelsea win, Josh, but what are you going for? Are you going for normal time or extra time or even penalties? What are you going for on Sunday?
I think the game's going to be a really, really close game. I think both defenses are going to do what they've been doing the last weeks and are going to be very rock solid. I think the midfield balance can be incredibly key here. I don't think Chelsea are going to get too many opportunities, but I think we'll hold Liverpool out for pretty much the whole game. I think it's going to be a 1-each. It's going to go to penalties, and Chelsea won naked on penalties. So I have to go for a Chelsea one. I'm biased. That's what you do when you support a club, especially when you're all the people's show. So I will say Chelsea will win. I think if we are to win it, I don't see us winning it within 90 minutes. I just don't think. I think Liverpool are too good at the moment to maybe beat them over a 90-minute period. But I do think if we go to penalties, I think just maybe with the way Kepa's been in goal of penalties and just some of our penalty takers, I think like we would just slightly edge it. But obviously penalties, it's just a lottery, so it is just a pure biased opinion. But if I'm being as honest as I possibly can be, I would more likely see us to win it after 90 minutes than within 90 minutes.
Well, to be fair, if you didn't go Chelsea, I would think, what the hell's wrong with you? To be fair, I'd be like, are you a Chelsea fan? No, but I absolutely do get what you mean anyway. But Jamie, what are you going for, mate? You going for normal time, extra time?
Well, one thing we haven't spoke about, one factor we haven't spoke about is Wembley.
True.
It's got to be a bigger pitch. It's got to be, there's a lot, Wembley's a bit of a bigger pitch. There's going to be a lot more space, especially for both teams, wide players, their forwards. That's one thing I was just thinking of there about Wembley. It's
the last time I can think of like a bigger pitch like this is when we've played teams like Atletico Madrid away, and obviously the Madrid final as well.
We get that more space, and our wingers like space. I mean, Mane, Diaz, and Salah, if they've got space, they're going to really hurt you. I just can't see. I can't see Salah losing 2 cup finals in 4 weeks. I just can't see it. And the man is on fire at the moment. It's not just his goal scoring, his passing. Everything he does is ridiculous at the moment in time. Mane's on a high, Diaz is on a high. I think it's going to be very hard for Chelsea to keep them free, quiet for 90 minutes. But as I say, it's going to be an extremely tight game. You take Man City out of this league, these are the 2 best teams in the league without Man City. So it's going to be an extremely tight game. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool in normal time in 90 minutes, but extremely close.
Goal scorers?
I reckon Salah gets the first, and I think Diaz wins it.
Very interesting. For me, guys, personally, I'm going to go 2-0 Liverpool. I think it's going to be, in my head, I've got it being Liverpool are going to score first. Because in my opinion, I think in both Premier League games so far, I think Liverpool didn't take the opportunities that were there. Especially the first game, the red card was, I know Havertz scored that weird header at Anfield. I think it came off his back, I think, if my memory serves me correct, and we didn't take our opportunities then. Stamford Bridge, we allowed Chelsea to get back into the game, with 2 quick goals. And for me, what Liverpool need to do is control the game early and don't let Chelsea get the first goal, because then we're playing catch up, of course. I think it's going to be, for me, in my head, I've got it being very similar towards the Madrid final, where Liverpool score early, first 10 minutes. It'll be a big period then of, back and forth, no goals. And then I think Liverpool are going to grab it again at the end. So for me, I'm going to go 2-0 in normal time. I'm going to go for Mo Salah. I've said Thiago as well. And we did speak about the long shots as well. Do see any of the midfielders, or even Trent as well with a long shot. I think a long shot will go in this game, especially if Kepa is starting anyway. But guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below before we do it off. Dave is in as well with the googly eyes. Liverpool 2-1 says Days, Salah and Diaz. I hope so. 2-0 to the Reds, Salah and Hendo with Jack anyway. But guys, thank you so very much for tuning in to our Carabao Cup final preview between Chelsea and Liverpool. Thank you very much for Josh for coming on, and of course Jamie as well. Josh as well coming on, the only Chelsea fan here. Apologies that we're going to bat you on Sunday. Just going to say that right now. He's going to absolutely kill me after the stream anyway. But thank you very much, Josh, for coming on. Where can people find you on social media?
I'm looking forward to showing on my socials since I step back from YouTube. I'm looking to promote something that I don't particularly use, but it's been an absolute pleasure to be back on your channel, Connor. It's been good talking to you again after a very, very long time of not talking, and it was good to meet you, Jamie. I've thoroughly enjoyed the show. I've got work at 3 o'clock. I've got work at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to be going to bed after this for a quick sleep before getting right back up again and going again. Wow. So that's life as a baker on a Saturday, and it's not very fun. But no, I do appreciate being on this channel. If I don't speak to you too much, Connor, I hope you reach your milestone of 1,000 subs as soon as possible. And I would recommend everybody subscribe to the Cup Council for fantastic content. He's actually a Liverpool fan that you can cope with without getting too annoyed. So not very many.
Well, I have my moments. Like, look, I think we all have our moments, especially if you're a City fan. Like, it's just funny. Just get into
I have seen your Twitter moments and your gifs and all. They do get a bit of a laugh. I know you and Anne like to go back and forth for this. I do get a bit of popcorn and enjoy some of the arguments between these two sometimes.
To be fair, me and Anthony have this big brother, little brother situation on Twitter half the time. So I'm just going to leave it at that anyway. But Jamie, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I do very much appreciate it. Give your channels a shout, mate, and where can people find you on social media?
So you can find me on YouTube on Jamie Phillips Football Chats, and I've got a busy week on the channel coming up. Tomorrow I'm doing the Everton Manchester City watch along, so if anyone fancies that. I did the Man City Spurs watch along last week, so I had a feeling Spurs might get something, so I can't break that curse. So I've got to do it again. So I'm doing that tomorrow at 5:30. So come and join me for that, and then I'm doing the boxing in the evening as well. So if you fancy all that, I'm there doing that Saturday, and then on Sunday, obviously, I think everybody's doing watch along Sunday. So, join me for that, guys. Thank you very much for having me on, Connor. It's been a blast.
Absolute pleasure, man. All Jamie's links will be in the video description down below. Anyway, so guys, go and please give Jamie a subscribe as well. We very much appreciate it if you could do so as well. But of course, we will be live on Sunday, like Jamie said. I think every single Liverpool YouTube channel will be doing it on Sunday, and every single Chelsea one as well. Of course, we will be doing a live watch along for Liverpool v Chelsea. Fingers crossed, it is another trophy in the cabinet for Liverpool. Sorry, Josh, but not really. Fingers crossed we can get the victory anyway, and start the Arsenal for a quadruple, maybe. Who knows? That's hope. Anyway, it's not going to happen, but we can dream. But who knows? Yeah, we are going to do it. Screw it. Jack's probably going to scream. Jack's going to scream and comment like that, going, "Oh, like how dare you say it's not going to happen? It is going to happen. We're going to win everything because we're bloody massive anyway." But guys, thank you so very much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe anyway. But I've been Connor from the Cup Council, and we'll hopefully see you on Sunday for the final. Have a good rest of your evening, guys, and we'll see you all later. Ta-ra.